Now to the race for the White House in 2016 as Hillary Clinton prepares for a highly anticipated bid for the Oval Office. The Clinton Foundation, which has her name on it, just dropped its self-imposed ban on collecting funds from foreign governments. So now it is collecting donations from countries including the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and a Canadian government agency that promotes the Keystone XL pipeline. This, of course, is raising some ethical questions. Let's talk about those questions with Jonah Goldberg, senior editor at the National Review and a Fox News contributor. Juan Williams, also our Fox News political analyst. So it is the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation. Now the name has been expanded from the old Clinton Foundation name. They wouldn't take donations from foreign governments when she was Secretary of State, but once she left office, Juan, they said, okay, bring it on, and they're taking donations from countries like the ones I just mentioned. Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah, I think it's rank influence peddling for someone who's running for president to somehow now be open to backdoor donations from foreign countries, given her prominence and her influence in American life. She may not be an official candidate as yet, John, but she's being asked questions, for example, about the Keystone XL pipeline. Well, guess what? She's taken donations for that foundation from the company that's promoting the pipeline. So this would appear to put her in a very difficult ethical situation. I think it's beyond the point of saying ethically dubious. I think it's unethical.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Jonah, has given between $10 and $25 million since the creation of the foundation in 1999.
Yeah, I mean, I think Juan is absolutely right. There may not be a technically legal violation going on here because she's not technically declared she's running yet. But at the same time, and I think that's why they're doing this, is why they lifted the moratoriums. They know that once she formally declares she's running, they're probably going to have to close it again, and so they want to rake in the money while that window is open. The problem is that, first of all, the Clintons have always had a blind spot when it comes to financial stuff. They've always sort of stretched the limits, whether it was fundraising from China when Bill Clinton was president, or more recently, the taking of these donations from shady Swiss bank accounts from HSBC, which is a big story in England these days and in Europe. And I think they just think they can get away with anything and just sort of brazen it out. The vulnerability for Hillary is because if she doesn't have an opponent in the primaries, she's not going to know how to defend herself on this kind of stuff until a general election. And if she's not tested, she could end up, flubbing it very badly.
For instance, the Keystone XL pipeline, the Obama administration has repeatedly blocked it, Juan, by saying, oh, it's in the hands of the State Department. They have to approve it. Well, she was Secretary of State for the first 4 years of his administration. Now it comes out that this agency that is promoting Keystone for the Canadian government has given almost $500,000 to the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation.
Right, so there you have a concrete example of how this compromises her and puts her in, as again, an ethically untenable position, John. And that's why I don't understand why, from a political point of view, just a purely political point of view, she would expose herself to this vulnerability. You can imagine that not only her opponents in terms of Republicans will point to this, but what about Democrats who are saying Wall Street has too much influence, big money has too much influence in our political system? Here's Hillary Clinton under the thumb of big money.
They are trying to raise a $250 million endowment, Jonah, to do things like, educate poor children around the world and immunization programs and so forth. If the money is going to a good cause, does it really matter who donates?
It's absolutely true that a lot of the stuff the Clinton Foundation does is good stuff. The problem is in terms of appearances, this is still bad. And also, the Clinton Foundation also serves as essentially the Clinton campaign in exile for lots of people. They give people jobs to cool their jets until the next time one of the Clintons runs. One of the chief executives of the Clinton Foundation is joining the Clinton campaign. It also gives lots of opportunities with the Global Clinton Initiative in New York for the Clintons to hobnob with big, rich CEOs from around the world and around the United States. It looks very incestuous as a tool to raise money, and I think the optics of it are just very, very bad for Hillary, regardless of what the underlying reality may or may not be.
Here's another interesting fact. The United Arab Emirates apparently gave somewhere between $1 and $5 million in 2014. They were a first-time donor, Juan, and the foundation doesn't exactly list. They give ranges, so we know it was somewhere between $1 million and somewhere between, somewhere up to $5 million. Pretty big range. They also don't really make a note of when these donations come in. They do put it on a website, but it was the Wall Street Journal who dug all this stuff up.
Right, so we wouldn't really know it without the Journal story, which ran in this morning's paper. And what you're seeing here, therefore, is just the edge or the outlines of the larger donations. We don't know so much more. We have some sense, and of course now we're aware of these foreign donations flowing in, but we don't know how many, where from, and how much. So again, it just seems to me that politically it's unnecessary. Why expose yourself, if you're Hillary Clinton, to this kind of risk, unless, as Jonah suggests, you think, you know what, we love money, money will flow in, people will say it's for a good cause, or we'll determine if it's a good cause. But politically, for Democrats, I think it's just a, it's just a sinkhole. It's just a big mistake.
Or maybe she's not going to run.
Well, I don't see any evidence of that.
All right. Jonah Goldberg, Juan Williams, thank you both.